So in last night's game plan, I had stated that if the SPY gaps down, we're planning to buy SPY call options using the break and retest strategy. If it drops back down towards those previous pre-market highs, towards that 605 range, we're going to be interested in buying SPY call options. I got to give a big shout out to Keaton Win, Forbes 30 under 30, Uncle Tio. He ended up calling out the trade in real time. As soon as the SPY dropped back down to that zone, in terms of the pattern that I explained to you in last night's video, you can see right here, this is pre-market resistance. Once the SPY had this massive break above the pre-market resistance, it ended up gapping down the next day. And then it bottomed towards the previous pre-market highs. Then it started to explode up to fill the gap above. If you look at what happened today, it was the same exact pattern that repeated itself, right? So in terms of the previous pre-market highs, you can see right here, it was right around 606 to 605.40 break and retest zone. The SPY had a massive breakout. Like I said, if it gaps down, we're going to be interested in buying call options in between this zone. The SPY ended up gapping down. Uncle Tio ended up calling out the play in real time. And this was the best strike you could have selected for the biggest percentage gains with the lowest risk. Take a look. We ended up buying 6080 SPX calls at 120 a contract at 10:11 a.m. So if we go to 10:11 a.m. right here, you're going to see we got in these SPX call options at the exact lows. Using that level and using that game plan, you're going to see, man, great minds think alike, man. Big shout out to Keaton Win. He called out 100% in real time. As soon as we got in these calls, you can see just the massive volume spike, literally the biggest spike in volume throughout the entire day. They quickly went from 100 all the way to 500 a contract in just 20 minutes. Buying SPX calls extremely far out of the money this early in the day? Who the fuck is doing that, man? It's absolutely fucking insane in terms of what is happening here. Now, with that being said, we had many other wins. I'm going to be breaking those down towards the end of those videos, but I want to give a big shout out to Uncle Tio for absolutely crushing it, man. I'm going to get straight into the new nightly game plan, but I'm telling you, man, we ended up closing out this trade for a 250% profit return, man. This was fucking crazy, man. These are like the highest quality trades you're ever going to see within the overall market, man. So as you can see, we ended up closing out that overall trade for a 250% profit return. Now, in terms of the game plan, let's get straight into it, man. So in terms of the SPY, this is going to be very simple. The main focus heading into tomorrow is going to be call options, call options, call options. I have one level for puts, which is going to be towards 608 to 609 zone. In terms of the levels for calls, if we are gapping down, reacting bearish, the call zone is going to be right here. We have a gap that is waiting to fill below at 600 and 280 for a gap reversal. We have previous resistance to react to support for the break and retest at 603.60. This is going to be the oversold levels to be buying call options if the SPY is gapping down and reacting bearish. Now, for the bulls to show up and take full control at the higher levels, we're going to need to be seeing a gap up, or we're just going to need to be seeing this, hold above 604.33 previous closing price, break above 605.20. We're breaking above 605.20. Next level we're going to is 606.50. Break above that. Next level we're going to is going to be 607.50 to 608, right? So I want you to continue to use this pattern because we've been using this pattern to milk this trend nonstop. We used this pattern to buy call options yesterday at market open for the massive move to the upside. And then we use this pattern today to buy SPX call options at the exact fucking lows. Who the fuck do you know is printing like us, man? So with that being said, in terms of the pattern, this is what it's going to be saying in a sense, right? So what I'm looking at right here, I'm looking at this pattern right here. This is what it looks like right around here. And then you're going to want to compare it to right around here. And it's at the same levels. So like I said, if the SPY is gapping up, it's going to be a gap and go. And we're going to be using the break and retest strategy. So on a bullish trend day, we're looking for breaks above resistance levels. Once the SPY has a nice breakout above those resistance levels, we wait for it to drop back down to the previous resistance, buy the dip to react to support. So in terms of resistance levels that you can use heading into tomorrow for a gap and go, if we're opening up higher and break and retest, 605.50, you got some resistance right here. The next level towards that is going to be 606 to 606.50 zone. Those are going to be the resistance levels that you're going to want to be looking at. 607 as well. Those levels, right? Look for breaks above all of those levels. Once we drop back down to the previous retest, that level, you're going to want to be buying the dip towards that level for a strong bullish trend day. I'm telling you, if you look at this overall pattern for continuation of this trend, if we are gapping up above 604.33, it is going to be a strong bullish trend day where we're going to be buying call options whenever the SPY has those big drops. We're going to be looking for breaks above resistance, right? So in terms of resistance, 605, 606, 607. We're looking for breaks above the resistance. Then we're looking for quick drops back down to previous resistance levels, right? If we break above 605 and go straight to 606 and then drop back down to 605, we're in on calls. If we break above 606, go to 607, drop back down to 606, we're in calls. It's going to be a strong bullish trend day. It can potentially look something like this. Just a gradual, grind up here. And then whenever the SPY has these big drops back down to the break and retest levels, right? So you can see in the pre-market, you're going to want to use extended hours as well. You can see right here, there was resistance at 605. The SPY had a nice breakout to 606.20, and then it dropped back down to 605, turning that previous resistance into support by the oversold dips. You can see right here, previous resistance towards new previous resistance at 605.80, breaks above that, drops back down, previous resistance to react to support. Then we had a very strong bullish move into the close. So I'm telling you, gap and go. If we are opening up higher above 604.33, it's going to be a gap and go, and it's going to be a strong bullish move to be buying call options for the break and retest. Look for the oversold dip buying opportunities, buy calls into that. You should bank, man. Look for those quick 1 point plus drops, right? And then in terms of puts, the only levels for puts I have are the following. We have a gap to fill above at 607.46, but it's not the best level. The best level is going to be 608 to 609 zone. We're likely not going to go to 609, so keep an eye on 608s and keep an eye on 607.50. That upper range zone is going to be the range for puts. Use 30-minute bearish candlestick confirmations. I told you, gap and go, buy the fucking dips, buy the higher levels. We're keeping an eye on 605. We're keeping an eye on the previous closing price. We're keeping an eye on 606. We're keeping an eye on 607. We gap down, we react bearish, buy the fucking calls at the lower fucking levels. Lower levels, 603.50 to 602.50 to 602.80, gap reversal zone. I'm telling you, if you use this game plan, you should make money heading into tomorrow, man. Go back and watch last night's game plan. I literally said, if the SPY gaps down, we're going to be buying calls in between the zone. The zone was the previous pre-market high right here in a break and retest resistance level right here, 605.30. You can see if 605.30 reacts to support, you have a very strong move to the upside. If it cracks and reacts as a resistance, you have a very strong move to the downside, right? So if it fucking reacts bullish here, it's gonna fucking pump. Uncle Tio bought SPX calls at the exact fucking lows, man. Do you realize 10, 11 a.m.? Let's pull up SPX. Who the fuck do you know is doing this? Do you understand? Multimillionaire, Forbes 30 under 30, Keaton went. Look at this, man. Look at this fucking trade. Who the fuck do you know is doing this? And I gave you the game plan a day before the market opens, man. Take a look. This is SPX at 10, 11 a.m. This is the exact low on SPX. Do you understand? We are trading at 6060. Who the fuck do you know is going 20 points out of the fucking money and literally selling in the fucking money? The trade went in the money. It basically went in the fucking money and then it dropped. These fucking SPX calls, 6080 strike, went from fucking 100 to 5 fucking 100, man. We were adding into the drop. They dropped like 10 fucking cents. We were adding, man. Look at the fucking gains, man. Look at the results. This is fucking crazy, man. So with that being said, I want to give a big shout out to Uncle Tio because he absolutely crushed it on that fucking trade. I'm telling you, man, he's got some of the highest quality trades I've ever fucking seen, man. And he keeps it in terms of like extremely consistent, never over trades. And he has that extremely high win rate doing this. And he's always keeping it high quality. You know, you'll see like a couple trades a week and they're fucking crazy. I remember he did this at the same exact time in the morning, like a couple weeks ago, and they went up a fucking 1,000%. Here he is doing it again. Now, I got to give a big shout out to G-Roar. G-Roar absolutely crushed it on the day. So in terms of Uncle Tio's trades, I've noticed the timing tends to be 100% spot on. In terms of G-Roar, on some of the trades, like guys, you have to understand, you have to hold. Do not use stop losses. You have to hold the trades. We're playing a different game. This is a zero-date options trade alert system. So I'm going to walk you through the trades that we ended up making today, man. G-Roar absolutely crushed it. Just remember, never use stop losses inside of Team Roar, and make sure you're holding the trades. When you're green, you set the profit stops, and you're looking to hold runners and sell in the money as well. But you're setting the profit stops to ensure that you don't go green to red. You're moving the profit stops up higher to ensure that you don't get back the bulk of your gains. So I'm going to walk you through this, man. This is the beauty of holding the trades and not using stop losses. The first trade that we ended up making on the day was at 9:43 a.m. So at 9:43 a.m., we ended up buying CVS puts for 30 cents a contract, right? So if you go to CVS, 50 strike, 30 cents a contract. We didn't put the expiration on the overall trade because we're always going with the closest expiration, right? So if it's not 0 dates, it's literally just the closest expiration on the stock, right? We're always going with the 0 dates, but on stocks, 0 dates going to be on Friday. So with that being said, in terms of this trade, I'm going to walk you through this. If we go to CVS, right? And we pull up 50 puts, I'm going to walk you through this. This is where we got in, right? So we got in right here in the 30-cent range, and they dropped all the way down to 19 cents. So the trade dropped like 40%. We don't use stop losses. You put in your entire position size as your max risk per trade. Every trader has a certain amount of money that they choose to risk in the trade. The difference between our trades and their trades is if the contracts expire worthless and go to zero, the most we lose is our max risk per trade is the most we put into the option contracts, right? So we're risking our max risk per trade as the entire value of the equity we're putting into these option contracts. That's what we're doing differently. What that allows us to do is it allows us to buy far out of money option contracts. It allows us to hold the trade. It allows us to remove the stop loss. It allows us to sell in the money when we're right and expire zero to go to worthless when we're wrong and the trade just expires to zero and go to worthless. So it's a different trading style. You have to understand we're doing the complete opposite of what everybody you know of is doing. This is how we're able to win. So the trade is down 40%, but like I said, we're trading the trend. When you trade the trend, you can size less. You can go further out of the money and you can sell in the money for massive percentage gains. And when you're wrong, and if the trade goes to zero and expires worthless, you lose your max risk per trade. So you're putting in smaller amounts of money, risking less, and you're letting the big percentage gains do the work for you, along with the massive consistent wins we're having inside of Team Roar. Now, in terms of the overall trade, you could just see right here, we're in right here, and the trade ended up going in the money, so 30 cents to 80 cents. So the trade dropped 11 cents from our entry, and then it ended up going up 50 cents above our entry, even though it dropped 40%. So the reason why most traders lose is when they trade far out of the money options. I'll tell you, it's because they go against the trend and they use stop losses. If you go against the trend, you have to time the trade perfectly, right? And, especially if you're sizing in big, most people use a stop loss. So you're going to want to size in lighter. You're going to want to focus on the trend in a sense. And you hold the trade. Once you're green, you set the profit stop, you sell in the money, you get the point. So 30 cents to 80 cents. Now, I'm going to walk you through the next one, man. In terms of the next one, you can see right here, everything, we're doing is documented 100% real time. At 11:59 a.m., we ended up buying 605 SPY puts for 33 cents a contract. So if we go to 605 SPY puts, you're going to see right here, this is where we ended up getting in. So again, we're in right here. As you could see, it had a massive drop. The trade went to 10 cents. The fucking puts dropped 60% plus. But this went from 30 cents to 10 cents all the way to 80 cents to 100 cents a contract. So an amazing risk reward ratio. You hold the trade. When you're green, you set profit stops and then you sell in the money. So that was another phenomenal win. Now, in terms of the next fucking trade, 606 puts, right? So when these puts started to drop, instead of adding to the loser, we don't like adding to losers. If we still believe in the trend, we will buy another strike. And the second strike we buy on the same side as the previous one puts tends to be a lot better and an amazing entry, right? So 606 SPY puts for 38 cents a contract. As you could see right here, this is where we got in. And you could see this was a very lucrative opportunity. We got in right here, and it quickly went all the way to 70 cents. Then it dropped back down to 24 cents. So you should have been stopped out for profits, and you could have even gotten back in a sense. And then it went all the way to 160 a contract, right? So do you understand? We are trading the trend. We are holding the trade. When the trade is green, we set profit stops. We get stopped out for profit stops. We get stopped out for profit. We move the profit stop up higher, right, to ensure we don't get back the bulk of our gains. And when the trade goes in the money, you're going to want to be selling into the moves and selling into the money, right? The point is to trade the trend, to sell in the money, to set profit stops when you're green, to ensure you don't go back to red. You can always get back in on the trade, always get back in on the trend, right? But the thing is, you can't use stop losses. If you lose stop losses and the market has a short-term move against the overall trend, you're likely going to get stopped out. So you have to size in less. I want you to think as your position size, as your entire max risk per trade, right? So in terms of like an R multiple, some people, they risk 2% of your account. Obviously, if you're starting out small as a day trader, if that's what you're going to do, you're going to have to risk more, right? Starting out small means you're going to have to risk more. Make sure you're using cash accounts. And in terms of risk, 2% is a good risk on an overall trade. Obviously, if you have a small account, it might have to be 3, 4, 5%, which is a lot. That's a lot to risk. But if you have a small account, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, these are the cheapest low risk barrier entry contracts. Great for small accounts. And rich people do this because they understand paying less, risking less, and letting the percentage gains do the work for you is the best way to trade. And like I said, with this trading style, you can make massive gains without using a stop loss, without risking a lot of money. That's why a lot of people have focused on far the money option contracts, because they understand they're buying something that's cheap, that's further out of the money. They measure the overall move, and when they're right and they're green, they set profit stops, and the goal is to leave runners and to sell deep in the money, right? So we're going extremely far out, extremely cheap, but not far out enough to where it's not going to go deep in the money. So far the money option contracts are going to be extremely cheap. And in terms of measuring the profit targets, they are designed for us to sell deep in the money. And when the trade doesn't work out, we lose everything we put into the contract. We don't use stop losses. If the contract expires 0, go to worthless, right? They're not going in the money. Or if we're not getting stopped out for profits when we're green, which will be before they go in the money, right? In that sense, then we lose what we put in, which is our max risk per trade. So every trader has a max risk per trade, except it's just with us. Our max risk per trade is literally if the contract goes to 0. It allows us to remove the stop loss and allows us to trade the trend, man. I'm telling you, remove the stop loss. We figured it out, man. Look at this. Every single fucking trade is going in the money. You just have to hold and remove the stop loss. To hold, you have to remove the stop loss. For you to hold comfortably, you have to risk less. Who the fuck is going to hold a trade that they're risking too much? If you're freaking out and stressing that a trade is down 50, 60, 70, 80, 90%, it means you're risking too much or your account is too small, right? So just understand that. You should not be freaking out if a trade is down 90%. I already explained too, in terms of the system, you should understand that, like I said, it's just whatever you're putting in is your max risk per trade. 2, 3, 4, 5% of your account. Obviously, in terms of like what I would recommend, I would keep it below like 3%. Even 3% is a lot. I would keep it at 2%. But obviously, if people have extremely small accounts, it might be 5%, right? But if they want to start trading with a small account and that's what they want to do, then that's on them. Starting with a small account has its disadvantages. Make sure you use a cash account, though. Never trade on margin. Now, with that being said, in terms of the next trade, you're going to see 6060 SPX puts at 175 cents a contract at 1:59 p.m., right? So 6060, 1:59 p.m., you're going to see right here. So in terms of 1:59 p.m., this is where we ended up getting in on the overall trade. So I'm going to walk you through this. So we ended up getting in on the overall trade at 1:59 p.m., right? So I'm going to break this down to you. This is where we ended up getting in. We got in right here towards the lows, and it went all the way to 1,000 a contract, right? One thing you're going to see as well is the trades tend to get better later into the day if we keep trading on the same side, right? So if we're just doing puts the entire day, just puts, the trades tend to get better later into the day. And then just vice versa for calls. So this was another phenomenal trade you could have taken advantage of. Now, let's get into the next one. So in terms of the last one, it was on 6055 SPX puts for 50 cents a contract at 3:55 p.m. If we go to, 3:55 p.m., you're going to see right here, this is where we got in, had a nice move, stopped out for profits, could have even gone back in right here, had a nice move. These went from 50 cents and they closed at 250 cents deep in the money. You really have to ask yourself, man, who the fuck is doing this? We've created a system where we've removed the stop loss. The most you risk is what you put into the trade. In terms of whatever you put into the option contract, that's the most you can lose. And that's the most you're going to risk. It's going to allow you to not be stressed out when you're down 50, 60, 70, 80%. It's going to allow you to hold for the overall trend to either get stopped out for profits or sell in the money. You see, that's the goal, man. The goal is to get stopped out for profits before they go in the money, set the profit stops, leave runners, sell deep in the money. That's what we're doing over here. And when we're wrong, we just let the trade expire worthless, go to zero. Sometimes we cut the play and sell it for a loss. But if you just go back and you watch all of the trades that we entered, you're going to see the vast majority of the time, the trade follows the trend. So if the trade follows the trend and you're on the right side of the trend and the contracts go in the money, which they tend to fucking do, you're going to bang. It's just you need to hold. And to hold, you need to make sure whatever you're putting into the option contract is something that you're comfortable with losing all the time. If it goes to zero, expires worthless, you're comfortable with that. That's your risk. So just understand, whatever you're putting into these trades is your entire max risk per trade, right? This allows us to remove the stop loss. The farther money option contracts allow us to hold and make massive percentage gains. This is what rich people prefer to do. They prefer to pay less. You pay less on the option contracts. You risk less. You remove stop losses, which is a huge advantage. And you're able to hold, set profit stops, get stopped out for green, don't go green to red, leave runners, hold, sell in the money, make the biggest percentage gains in the market. The percentage gains are always going to outweigh the dollar gains from the people who just get in and out and scout for these small fucking wins, man. These people you see who are getting in and out scalping for small fucking wins, they all use stop losses and they never win big. A terrible way to trade is to never win big because you can use a chart and you can measure a move, and the measured move is going to say, this is the best setup at the best price. A massive move is about to occur here. But as a trader, a lot of traders make the mistake as training themselves to fail. You really have to ask yourself, what are you training yourself for? A lot of people are not trained or wired this type of way, where they're risking less. Their entire position size is their max risk per trade, which means everything they're putting into the trade is what they're going to lose if they're wrong about the trade, right? They're not trained for that. They're trained to put in more. They're trained to set a tight stop loss and to sell quick. They don't know how to trade. Do you understand? If you are trading the trend, why are you getting in and out in a split second? It doesn't make any fucking sense, right? These people who trade the trend and get out in a split second, they might as well just not even trade the fucking trend. What's the fucking point? Like, dude, if you're going to get in and out in a split fucking second, why even bother trading the fucking trend? You can make money both ways against the trend. What's the fucking difference if you're going to get out that fucking quickly? Over here, we trade the trend. When you trade the trend and the market closes within your favor, so on a bullish, strong closing day, and we're on calls, the calls we bought that were extremely fucking cheap are going to go in the fucking money. As long as these fucking trades are going in the money, no matter where our fucking entry is, we could be down 90% on a trade, it will still go up 100 and 200%. Okay? We're doing the complete opposite of everything you've been taught, man. I'm telling you, it's like you have to train yourself differently. You have to rewire everything as if you've been taught, because this is completely different, man. If you just study all the fucking trades we made, a lot of these fucking trades are dropping 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90%. Losing is a personal choice if there's no fucking stop loss and you hold the trade and you set the profit stop and you get stopped out for profits, or you sell in the fucking money and hold leave runners. Like, dude, I'm putting you onto the game, man. This is the new wave of options trading. It's extremely disruptive. People haven't figured out and they're not trained the trend, man. Like I said, rich people pay less, risk less, remove stop losses, add to winners, set profit stops to protect the new average cost. Adding to winners to increase their fucking winnings and gains. Because when we're up small fucking amounts, like you could see, dude, this is, you want to see what rich people do is? I'm telling you, man, they quickly add. They quickly add to fucking winners. In calls, 6080 SPX, 120 a contract, right? Added at 110, average 115, and then it's just free money. Dude, it's like fucking fun coupons, man. It's like you enter a fucking trade, it goes up 200%. You have people making $10,000, $20,000 in a split fucking second doing this, man. I'm telling you. I remember Uncle Tio did this a couple weeks ago. He bought SPX calls at the exact fucking lows. It's crazy what you can do with these game plans, man, but great minds think alike. It's just fucking insane in terms of what is occurring, man. This is crazy, man. So I want to give a big shout out to Uncle Tio, and I want to give a big shout out to G-Roar, man. I'm saying you guys have to understand in terms of the system and in terms of, you know, G-Roar's overall trades, sometimes the timing is not going to be 100% spot on, and that's completely fine because this is a system where we're trading the trend, we're holding the trade, we're setting profit stops, we're selling in the money, leaving runners to hold deep in the money, right? Getting stopped out for profits, and there's no fucking stop losses. So what I'm telling you is, if you join Team Roar, do not use a stop loss. You cannot use a stop loss inside of here. In terms of this trading alert system, it's not designed for stop losses. It's a different style of trading. If you use a stop loss, you'll get stopped out for a loss. A stop loss does not stop you from losing. It does not prevent you from losing. It prevents you from losing potentially more. But like I said, you can risk the same amount as anyone else is risking, except the contracts are so fucking cheap. So you don't need a stop loss. It's the ultimate hack to buy a far out of money option contract. They're so fucking cheap, so fucking low barrier risk to fucking entry. You can hold and trade for the trend and make massive fucking gains, man. We have members, they're literally just trading with 1 to 2 contracts and they're growing their accounts and they take it as education as well. I'm telling you, you can do a lot with far out of money option contracts. They give you the most options in the world. So just understand, this is completely different than anything else you've ever experienced. Do not use stop losses. If you come in here and you use stop losses, you are wasting your time. I'm being very honest with you. You're wasting your time. This is not designed for stop losses. You know, the trade does not have to be timed perfectly. Sometimes it's not going to be timed perfectly. But the point is, if we're on the right side of the trend, no matter how far down that trade goes, even if it's 90%, if it goes in the money, we're going to make at least 100%, right? So some of the trades, the timing is going to be spot on. And then in terms of just understanding trading, if the timing's not spot on and we're right about the trend, we'll be fucking happy about it because the next opportunity is going to be so cheap, so low risk. And the other trade will go on the money as well. Like I said, if we enter puts and we're bearish on the fucking day, right? The puts that drop 50% at first, the next puts we buy towards the exact fucking lows, 1000% return. The ones previous wasn't the best entry, 100% return. It's still fucking green. It's still fucking winning non-fucking stop. So just understand, man, this is a unique trading alert system. You cannot use a stop loss. You have to risk less. And I want you to think of every dollar that you put in to this option contract is your max risk per trade, which is like 2 to 5% of your overall account, right? Whatever you want, whatever you feel comfortable risking on an overall trade. But the point is, this works. When you're green, walk away, call it for a day, right? And you know, when you're green enough, which should be 1 big win, which could be in the morning or the first overall trade, or 2 small wins in a row, you shut it down, you call for the day. If you choose to keep on trading for the day, most you risk is 25 to 50% of your gains. Do not risk more than that. Never expose yourself to go green to red on the overall day. So just understand these things, man, because like I'm saying, man, you guys truly have to understand that we're doing the complete opposite of everybody else. And you have to train yourself for that. You have to be trained to not use a stop loss. You have to be trained to risk less. You have to be trained to think of this as like, okay, whatever I'm putting into this contract is my entire max risk per trade as my entire position size. So if your trade goes to 0, you should think of that as I lost my max risk per trade, 2 to 5% of your account, right? Obviously 5% is a lot, but if you're starting with small, you have to risk less. Make sure you're using a cash account. So please take this information in, especially for those of you who are inside of Team Roar, because this system works. But like I said, it's really about holding the trades. And when you're green, setting the profit stops. You don't go green to red. Leaving runners to sell deep in the money, adding when it's the right time to be added, which we mentioned, right? And then just understanding if the trade doesn't work out, it expires 0 and go to worthless. And if we exit the trade, we'll let you know. But the vast majority of times, there's no need to exit when you're down because we're trading the trend and the trend comes back to life, man. You remember those fucking Tesla calls? They dropped all the way down to 16 cents and went to 970. Eventually, the trend will kick in. as long as our levels are fucking holding, you know, it's gonna kick in. Yeah, there could be some decay on the fucking contracts. Yeah, it could have some overall moves against us, but overall, eventually, the trend is gonna fucking kick in, man. All these fucking multimillionaires taking over, run the fucking market, man. I'm telling you, there's nothing else like this. You ain't gonna see anything else like this, man. It's fucking crazy in terms of what's happening inside of here. So, if you wanna join us, it's the first link down below in the description. You can trade alongside with us. You can gain access to our real-time 0-to-8 options trade alert system. It's the first link down below in the description. You gain access to all of our real-time trade alerts. You can experience a new trading alert system that is consistently making many members within Team Roar money. We have many members who are making, $500 a day. We have some members making $1,000 a day. We have some members making 5 figures a week. Some are making 6 figures a month. Our format works. It's not going to work for everyone. Trading is not for everyone. You don't know until you experience it. So if you want to experience something new and adapt and learn a new style of trading, a new system where there is no stop losses, we are focused on trading the trend. We are focused on holding for the big wins. We are focused on never really selling for losses, just letting the trade expire to zero, go to worthless, because we have from market open to market close for the trade to go within our favor, for literally the options to go in the fucking money. And you can make a fuck ton of money before they even go in the money, man. Look at this. These SPX calls that we bought, they basically didn't even go in the fucking money. And the trade went from 100 to fucking, like, look at this, man. They didn't even, look at this. Who the fuck do you know is doing this? I remember. We did this at the same exact fucking time, man. Like, where are you gonna find this? This is fucking insane in terms of like this overall trade. 10:11 a.m., 6080 SPX calls. Do you understand? This strike was the cheapest, lowest risk strike that you could have went with. That went up the most. You could have went with any other strike. You could have went with SPY. You could have went with any other strike. This fucking contract was the one that went up the most. That's what we do. We put people in cheap contracts that are low risk that go up the fucking most. We put you in the best fucking contracts. Look at this. They went from 100 to 6 fucking hundred. They didn't even go in the money. They went from 1 to 6. They went up 600 fucking percent. They didn't even go in the fucking money. You can make a fuck ton of money before they go in the money, man. And our trades are known for going in the fucking money, right? Look at this. SPX. We're in right fucking here at the low of day. This is the exact fucking low of day. And then the high right here is 6079. The trade didn't go in the fucking money, and the fucking calls are up 600%. Man, if you are serious about making money, it's the first link down below in the fucking description. We are going to print nonstop tomorrow. Fridays are known for being our absolute best days. If you want to make money, if you want to come print with us, it's the first link down below in the description. All those fucking trades I showed you were all fucking wins. You hold, you set profit stops when you're green. You sell in the money, leave the fucking runners, you get stopped out for profits, you move the profits up higher, you get the fucking point, man. Our trades can drop 50, 60, 70, 90%. You're going to see all the fucking time. They come back to life, right? But in order for you to be in that trade, to stay in that trade, you need to remove the stop loss. So remove the stop loss. If you want to use stop losses, stay the fuck away from Team Roar. No brokies allowed, no stop losses allowed, winning only. We're looking for serious traders who want to win, who want to learn something new, a new style of trading, a new fucking wave of trading, paying less, risking less. Max risk per trade is my entire value of the overall trade. Most people, they've put their whole fucking portfolio in a fucking trade. They buy, they sell in a split fucking second, and they set a stop loss. That's not fucking trading. If we are trading a trend, why the fuck are we not holding for a big fucking win? Because they don't know how to trade, or they're risking too fucking much. Put in less money. Holding takes away that risk. Borrow the money option contracts takes away that risk. Do you understand? Holding a trade in big percentage gains allows you to put in less money. The less money you put in, you don't need a fucking stop loss anymore. Oh shit, the contracts are so fucking cheap that we don't even need a stop loss. If it goes to fucking zero, that's my max risk per trade. 2%, 3% of our fucking account. It's basic math, man. Do you understand? We cracked the whole fucking game, man. Who do you know is giving you this information? So if you're serious about joining our secure private organization that's winning nonstop trading the trend, it's the first link down below in the description. We're doing the complete opposite of what everybody else is doing, okay? So whatever the fuck it is you learn, don't bring that bullshit over here. You're gonna be learning new things over here. There's a new style of system. No fucking stop losses, Set the fucking profit stops. We're going to be winning non-fucking stop tomorrow. It's going to be fucking insane in terms of what is going to happen tomorrow. If that wasn't insane enough, man. The fucking 1 to 600 in 20 fucking minutes. Who the fuck do you know is going 20 points out of the money that early in the day? And they literally hit at the fucking money for a 600% return, man. Wake the fuck up, man. I'm trying to put you onto the game. Losing's a personal choice. If you want to fucking win, it's the first link down below in the description. You can come trade with us. You can print with us at the speed of fucking light. If you're serious about making money and you're not going to be using stop losses, this is going to be something that you want to experience, right? With that being said, I'm going to be signing off, and I will see you guys tomorrow within the chat.